Welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast, last segment of the day. All right, so before I get started, because I got to cover my ass on everything that I say, I know that I've burned a lot of bridges in my career. I really have. I've made up for pretty much most of them. I mean, they're never going to be the same. Like, I talk to Russ Rollins every single week. He calls and checks on me. Man, he left me the greatest voicemail on New Year's Eve, wishing me nothing but the best. I don't know how well I've repaired things with Drew Garabo, but me and Drew, I mean, we haven't talked on the phone, but like I've replied to some of his stuff. Some of his stories he's put up on Instagram, and he's replied back to me. So, I mean, that's a start. Do I think I'll ever work with Drew again? No, because I mess out when I big time. And I get it. I get why my name is bad. But goddamn, man. Like, seriously, I mean, I have nothing but respect for Bubba as well, too. Like, if I'm just being honest, Bubba the Love Sponge, did more for me than most radio guys have ever done. Now, I learned my craft from Ron Bennington and Ron and Fez. And then I was able to practice and get better and better and actually make a name for myself on the Monsters in the Morning. I mean, do you really think that I would have ever gotten hired on the Bubba the Love Sponge show? Because when I got on in 2010, we're still talking Bubba on Sirius. Bubba had just come back and is on terrestrial radio, and Bubba is got a really big name. And I got to tell you, Bubba, more than anybody, treated me like an equal. Like, I'm just being honest. And I was a dick to Bubba. Every single time that I ever left Bubba's show, I was a dick. I mother effed him as much as I could. And I really haven't done that this time. I don't think that I have. I've been nothing but cool. Like, I'll admit to you, Bubba is a radio legend. And yes, was I a dick? I was going through stuff when I was fired and let go. Now, I could have been mad. I could have lashed out, but I did not lash out at Bubba at all. And the reason I'm talking about all this is not between me and Bubba. Like, if you want me to be honest, if Bubba texted me today or called me and told me to back off of talking about Seth Kush, because that's exactly who I'm talking about. I guess he talked about me today. But here, you know what? Let me step back here, okay? So I wanted to check out, because every once in a while I still follow all the Bubba the Love Sponge accounts. Bubba's not on Twitter anymore, but I sent out this tweet. Just doing a little Tuddle investigates because I've now officially been blocked on all BTLS platforms. I've been cool as hell during my time away from the BRN. Just curious to how many of you have been blocked since @Seth Kush was given the reins of Bubba's social media. And that's the only thing that I said. And if we're just being honest here, people, when you work in radio, you're in the business of trying to get the biggest audience that you can. So it's really, if you look at it, it's bad business to block people just because you are such a pussy. And yeah, I mean that. I used to have a lot of respect for Seth Kush, but not anymore. Like, I always wanted to do radio with him because, here, I'll give you an example, people. My interview, I just had Michael Sharkey on the other day. And I was talking about the piece of advice that Michael Sharkey gave me. Listen to Seth Kush. Seth is good at what he does. He's good at self-editing on the fly and knows when to talk and not to talk. And I always took that as like, oh man, I really need to pay attention to what Seth is doing. But my God, like seriously, Seth, I mean, do you even realize what show you're working on? And this is not a dig at Bubba in any means, but the demographic is that get her done, blue collar men 25 to 54. And there is, even though Seth will not admit it, and I'm not going to call Bubba because Bubba's a manager. It's his business. He can do whatever he wants to. But, I mean, nobody can deny that Seth gets treated like a double standard. I mean, seriously, I mean, I know that I walked out of the studio one time, but I was not an employee of the BRN at the time. What do you think would have happened if I would have walked out of the studio? I'm just being honest. It would not have been good for me. No, there in no way it would not have worked out well. And in another case, if I would have no-called, no-showed, my guy, I would have, well, for one, I most likely would have been fired. And if I wasn't fired, I would have never heard the end of it. It would have been the topic of discussion for a month. But no, what happened? No, it's okay, Seth. It's okay. I know you had to stay up late to watch a lot of rich athletes hit a puck into a net, and you just completely ignored your responsibilities as an employee of the BRN. You know what? Fuck you, Seth. Like, seriously. I mean, I've been trying to keep it clean on this show, but fuck you. I'm tired of you thinking you're holier than thou because you're kind of acting that way. And now, I guess today, you talked about me without talking about me, but everybody knows who you're talking about, Seth. So, are you really ignoring me? Or are you letting a podcaster, the person that you say has no material, and I'll get to my offer. I know he won't take it. He will not take my offer. But Seth Kush had to make his comments about me today on the hot mic on the Bubba the Love Sponge show. And just to tell you how much of a nice guy I am, I'm telling you, the show is still good. I love everybody there. I love Blitz. If I'm being honest, if I'm just being honest, the person that I miss the most at the BRN is Blitz. And I know a lot of you guys probably, well, Blitz really didn't care for you that much. Yeah, but guess what? Blitz was in charge. Bubba put Blitz in charge and to manage it. And the one thing I will say about Blitz is that he's fair. And he does not mix any of his words. Like, if you do everything that Blitz tells you, Blitz treats you with respect. But if you fuck up, Blitz is going to let you know it. Blitz is going to voice his opinion. But Blitz has always been nothing but kind to me. Caveman is amazing. Lummy, I love Lummy to death, but I don't know if he likes me as much as he used to. But I will say this. Lummy did say, texted me, wished me a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Congratulations, Lummox, on the marriage. I think that's a great thing. I think you got a great girl, and I wish you nothing but the best. And Anna, at first, Anna, I was busting balls, but if I'm just being honest, Anna is talented as hell. And Bubba, Bubba's the GOAT. Bubba is the GOAT. I mean, the guy gave me more opportunities than anybody, but fuck you, Seth Kush. You are the fakest motherfucker. I've met you, but you are fake as fuck. And I have no problems with anybody at the BRN besides Seth Kush. Like, you think your shit doesn't stink? I mean, What the hell is going on? So I'm going to digress here, and I'm going to play this audio, and then I'm going to throw my challenge out there because I'm tired of this back and forth type deal. I guess I can't voice my opinion without Seth getting his feelings hurt.
Who made that noise? Lummy, was that you?
That was Lummy.
What? No, I didn't know who made that noise. I thought it was on.
No, it was me.
Mandingo, I'm not getting sucked into that drama, dude. That dude's a fuckboy to the max.
How original. I guess I'm a fuckboy now. It's sad. I don't even know how old Seth is. I gotta tell you, I'm 41. I've got all my hair, and I know Seth has all of his hair right now, but goddamn, you are like that old dude that learns a buzzword, and you want to call me a fuckboy? I mean, seriously, Seth, come on. And if you didn't want to talk about it, why did you even acknowledge that comment on the Twitch chat? Do you guys realize how many times, do you guys remember how many times I would get bitched out because I would go on a rant about something somebody said on the Twitch chat? And once again, double standard when it comes to Seth, and he wants to call me a fuckboy? Listen, I'm not trying to claim that I'm some tough guy, because I know exactly, this is how good and this is how well I know radio. Because if I say, oh, Seth, I guarantee you wouldn't say that to my face, he's going to turn around and say, oh, well, you have to resort to violence. No, that's not the case. But I guarantee you that you wouldn't call me a fuckboy to my face. And if you want to come back and say that, oh, you're resulting to violence, I will destroy you. I will make you my bitch. And I'm not being cocky. I just know my skills. And I don't understand why everybody is pumping up your ego like you're the second coming of radio program director, Christ, whatever you want to call it. Because God damn it, man, you're not as good as you think you are, Seth. So what I'm trying to say is, I know that you wouldn't call me a fuckboy to my face. And that's not a threat. That's not me getting my feelings hurt. But I would destroy you personally, physically, as well as on the mic. And I'm throwing it out there right now. Like, seriously, I'm going to get to my offer. I want to hear the rest of this audio first before I throw my offer out there.
No. If you say his name, we'll make an entire podcast about you.
I got it.
Yeah.
The one thing that I learned about working with Bubba, like, it's better when somebody gets you to admit it. And I'll admit it right there. Seth got me. Seth, touche on that one, Seth. Because you got me. You're right. I sometimes would do a whole show about you. But, I mean, don't judge me like it's beneath you. Do you realize who you're working for, Seth? Bubba the motherfucking Love Sponge. And you want to know what he wrote the book on? He wrote the book on going into somebody's town, pushing them, poking them right in the chest and saying, what are you going to do about it? And that's what I'm doing to you right now, Seth. I'm poking you in the chest. And you're still talking about me. Like I said, everybody knows who you're talking about. So don't act like you're getting one over because, oh, that guy, if I talk about him, he's going to do a whole show. You got me on that one, Seth. You did. Maybe I'm scratching for traction right now. I have no content, but don't judge me. Do you forget that I actually worked at the same place that you did? I'm friends with the same people that you worked with, the same people that you walked out on. That whole thing about you leaving cordially at the bone. There's a big difference. And I'll tell you exactly what happened there. And this is not any info that I've had. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm putting down that people that do morning shows that have to play music. But it is a whole new world when you go from having to play a couple of songs an hour and talk up some records, hit the weather and traffic. What happened over there at the Bone is that you were not man enough, Seth. You were not man enough to be able to put up with it. And the thing is like, don't act like, oh, it was all Drew Garabo. You realize that I've worked with Drew Garabo on 2 separate occasions. And I got to tell you right now, Seth, like, I'm just being real. The Drew Garabo that you know now is a kitten compared to the Drew Garabo that I had to work with back in the day. And I'm not even trashing Drew at all. I don't know what Drew was going through back in the day. Hell, I'm sure, and listen, I'm sure he was mad. The guy had been killing it at nights forever and didn't get that promotion. Drew deserved to move up in the time slots at Real Radio. And you know what? I don't blame him for being in a bad mood. I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything. Like, Drew is very sincere. But what I'm trying to tell you, if you couldn't make it with that Drew Garabo, because I worked with Drew Garabo at the Bone, and Drew Garabo was a saint compared to what he was at Real Radio. And I'm not saying he was an asshole at Real Radio, but he demanded more, and I don't blame him. I know what he was going through. So it just shows how much of a sensitive ass pussy you are. And I've always had nothing but nice things to say about you. Are you threatened by me? Is that why you're upset because I made one little joke? This all stems from me making one little joke on that YouTube video I did, which, by the way, has almost 7,000 views. I think Bubba needed me to be somewhere around 5,000. So, hey, thank you. But nobody mentions that one bit at all. So, Seth, fucking grow a pair, buddy. Because I got to tell you right now, Bubba's going to get tired of your bullshit. I'm calling it right now. Bubba might not admit it, but your antics, because I've been there. I've had those same antics, and it got my ass fired. And it's going to happen to you. But the only difference between me and you is I didn't get fired for being a fucking pussy.
Let's put it this way. Is there anything that guy needs to say that says, is there anything he says in his life that I need to read?
Good morning, Bubba. Dreams of being too.
I don't think so.
So I want to talk about it again. Yes, Seth got me. Seth called me out and said, oh, he's going to do an hour-long podcast. No, I didn't do a whole show about you today, Seth. Did over a little 10 minutes. And I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm not going to talk about you anymore. But, Seth, you talk and you claim to be this know-it-all when it comes to radio. And you're all about the content. Content this, content that. Well, guess what? I'm giving you some content. And I want to see if you have the balls to do it. I don't even need the content. So I don't want you to think I'm trying to do this for my show. I won't post any of it on any of my social media. I won't use it for my podcast. But you're all about the content. If you are man enough, which I know you're not, because you're really not. Nobody has ever challenged you, and that's it. You're cocky because nobody has ever called you on your bullshit. And that's what your whole career has been made up on. Bullshit. I'm challenging you, and we can even let Bubba be the moderator, which will definitely put me in at a disadvantage. But, I mean, you're going to need the advantage. Because seriously, Seth, you want to talk about content? You want to talk about being real? You're not. You are one of the fakest motherfuckers that I have ever met in radio. Like, seriously, you're going to sell Bubba out. You're going to leave him high and dry as soon as you can. And let's be honest, Bubba was not your first choice. I'm sure you tried to get hired other places and it didn't work out for you because you thought you were better than what you actually are. And when those people didn't come knocking, and listen, I can't talk. I've been in the same boat. I've been in the same boat as you are, Seth. But I don't understand why you think that you know how radio works, because all you have ever done is music, radio, morning radio in the mornings, and music. And it's night and day from that to FM talk radio. And maybe you're just not cut out for it, because it might not happen tomorrow. I mean, it almost already happened because you walked out of the studio and called no-show. And if that would have been anybody else, it would have been lights out for them. So what I'm saying is, I'm willing to sit down in a studio with you and let's talk this out. I mean, I'm not talking about fighting or getting physical or anything, but let's talk these problems out, Seth. I want to know what your problem is with me, because I've basically done nothing but mark out to you, but you've treated me like shit. And I hate bullies. A lot of people might not look at you as a bully, but you are a bully. You treat people like crap. And I'm tired of it. Like, seriously. You can't take a joke? Then you have no business being on the Bubba the Love Sponge show. So, what I'm trying to say is, are you man enough? Bubba can moderate. I'll come in. Hell, you can pat me down, because I know a lot of you guys think I'm crazy or something. I mean, Blitz has got your back. Blitz will put a cap in me in a heartbeat if I do anything wrong. But Seth, don't be a pussy. Be a man. Be a man. Accept my challenge. I'll just come in. I want to talk to you and figure out what's going on, because I've not said anything bad about Bubba, and I get what Bubba is having to do. He's got to protect his team. Bubba's got to look out for his guys, and that's why Bubba's great. Bubba's loyal, and he's going to take care of his people. But Seth, you do not belong on that show. And it happened in the case of me. Bubba made me into a star. That's the thing about the Bubba Army. And I'm not saying anything bad, because the Bubba Army are great people, but if Bubba wants you to be a star, you're going to be a star, because the fans adore Bubba. And I just don't see what you bring to the table that is so special. There have been far more talented people, which me included, that have been on that show. So let me know, Seth, when you want to talk. I don't want the content. We can do it on Twitch, Bubba Army Radio. It's up to you, buddy. But I ain't going to talk about you anymore, because you know what? You were right. I spent way more time than I should have talking about you, but I'm not going to feel bad about it, because guess what? You're working with the guy that wrote the book on radio rivalries. So stop being a goddamn pussy, man up, take my challenge.